Hi everyone and welcome to today's guided reading session. So this is lesson 1. The text is Sticks and Stones. Okay, so just a bit of a food for thought. Has anybody ever heard the following phrase? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Pause now and consider the following things. What do you think of this phrase? Is it really true? Share your thoughts with me when you get back into school. Pause now. Okay, being honest with this phrase, I've heard it my entire life, as I'm sure your parents have, and I'm sure you have too. But it's quite an interesting phrase because, to be honest with you, they say sticks and stones may break my bones, true, but words can't hurt you. Well, I think we all know that words can hurt us. They really do hurt us, and they leave a lasting mark on people. And I've always liked this analogy here of the apple. Get two apples, bounce one of them around enough, bang it around. On the outside, it still looks nice and fresh and shiny. Okay, just like, perfect apple. Until you slice it open and you see the bruising inside the apple. Well, that's a little bit like a person. They might look all right on the outside, but lots of names and people saying things about them, it does hurt them deep inside and it lasts with them for a very, very, very long time. So I think as a phrase, it's definitely one that is not true at all. Another analogy is having a piece of paper. You screw up that piece of paper, if you imagine every single time you screw it up, that it's names that are being called to you, you unfold that, well, it's left with scars, isn't it? So name calling and saying things about people that are not very nice do have a lasting impact on how people feel. So the vocabulary in our text today that we're going to look at are the following. It's bones, rubbish, account, worn, obvious, streaming, buried, freckles, sobbed, inspiring, and necessary. Pause now and have a think about what these words mean. Right, so bones, it's a hard white tissue making up the skeleton. Rubbish, things that are no longer wanted that you throw away. An account is a version of events. Worn means if something's worn, it means it's damaged or it's a bit shabby. If something's obvious, it means it can be clearly seen. If something is streaming, it's like a continuous flow of a liquid, for example, water. If something's buried, it's underground or it's covered by soil. That shouldn't share freckles there. I've accidentally done that, but freckles are sort of little sort of spot type things on people's cheeks and noses. Sobbed, it's the past tense, so it's uncontrollable crying. So if something's inspiring, it's giving a person the urge to do something, and necessary means it's needed. So let's have a read. Now remember, don't forget to number your paragraphs and summarise each and underline unfamiliar and interesting vocabulary. So here is our text. Sticks and stones. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names can never hurt me. What a load of old rubbish, thought Rose. Her parents had given her name on account of their love for their firstborn. It was a flower that Dad had given Mum when he asked her to go out. It was a flower he had bought just after she had answered yes to the most important question he would ever ask. And it was a flower that both had worn on the day the two people became one family. So when two became three, Rose was an obvious choice. But that was 8.5 years ago, and today Rose did not feel loved at all. She sat on the school steps, tears streaming down her cheeks, her head buried in her hands. I hate my red hair, and I hate my freckles too, she sobbed. Miss Mackenzie looked up from a marking and looked out the window. Soon after, she too was sitting on the school steps in the rain. And as she sat there, she could not help thinking that no matter how many ticks she had placed in their PSHE books, that afternoon's lesson might not have been a good one after all. T, is it true? H, is it helpful? I, is it inspiring? I, is it necessary? K, is it kind? So the gist of this text, pause now and think about what this text is actually on about. What's the main thrust of this text? Okay, the gist is a story of children not following the advice of the PSHE bullying lessons. So, a little bit of a reminder on question stems. If you get who, it means that the answer is going to be a person's name. What, it means it's going to be an object, a thing, or an event. When, the answer is going to be some form of time reference. Where, it will be a location or place. Why, it's going to need an explanation. And the question type. So L is a literal question. That basically means if you scan the text, locate the keywords, and then you'll find the answer. Just make sure you go back to the question stem to check what it's asking you to look for. V is vocabulary, so it's a word choice question. D is deductive, so it's to understand based on the evidence that's present within the text. Evaluative provides an opinion based on evidence within the text. Inference is similar to deductive, but it requires a bit more interpretation that is beyond the text. Basically, it's reading between the lines. Authorial, why has the author chosen these language features to engage the reader? So question time. I've got two questions for you to consider now. So the first one is literal question, how old is Rose? The second question, again, is a literal question, who is Rose's class teacher? Pause now and see whether you can answer those questions. Right, so if it was me, how old is Rose? Okay, so first of all, I'll be looking for an age reference, looking at the question there. So it's literal, I'm looking for a number because I'm looking for an age. I'd also try and find Rose's name. So I'd scan through the text until I find a number, then read the sentence, check that it's Rose I'm talking about, and then answer it. It's the same thing with Rose's class teacher. So I'd look for the key word there I'd look for is teacher. Scan through the text, find the word teacher, then read through and see is there a name associated with that. So the answers, she's 8.5 years old and Miss Mackenzie is her class teacher. So these are your questions today. Literal, where is Rose and what is she doing? Another literal, what two things does Rose say she hates? A deductive, how upset is Rose? Inference, why do you think Rose is so upset? Another inference, when do you think this event took place? Another inference, why do you think this story has been written? A vocabulary question, how and why is the word rubbish used in the opening sentence? D is deductive, what acronym is used at the end of this story? An acronym is a word that is actually short for other words. So for example, NASA, okay, is an acronym. National Aeronautic and Space Administration, but they put it together. So what acronym? There's an acronym there if you look at the bottom of the text. How does the writer emphasise this? That's an authorial question. And then you've got an evaluative question at the end. What do you think Miss Mackenzie's PSHE lesson was about that afternoon and why? Good luck. Cheerio. Bye-bye.